All right, so now let's break down the solo. The first phrase goes like this. Okay, a lot of things happening here. First of all, we're in the key of A, so keep that in mind. We're going to start off with an open A string, and then play this phrase. So following the open A string, we're going to play some double stops. And when playing these double stops, I'm not going to be using the pick, but rather fingers of the picking hand. Starting off 8th fret on the B string, 7th fret on the G string, I'll play the G string with my middle finger, the B string with my 3rd finger. Now same 2 strings on the 7th fret, bend upwards a half step, release the bend, pulling off to the 5th fret. Back to the 7th fret on the same 2 strings, 5th fret. Now I'm going to play some single notes, so I'll go back to the pick, 7, pull off to 5, back to 7 on the D string. So far, all of those double stopped ideas are being played with the middle finger and the 3rd finger. Here's what we've done so far. Now 5th fret on the top 2 strings, so the middle finger plays the B string, 3rd finger plays the high E string. Now back to the 7th fret G, 7th fret on the B string, bend upwards a half step, and then strike the 7th fret without the bend. And then we're on beat number 4, we're just going to scratch with the side of the pick, and then slide downwards with the left hand. So here's what we've done so far. Here's our first main phrase of the solo, starting from the open A string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's move on. Here's the next phrase. And this is actually the first phrase of the main solo. This is where the whole band is kicked in. On the D string, we're going to hammer on from 5 to 7 and then strike 7 once again. 4, hammer on to 5 and strike 5 once again. 2, hammer on to 4. And then we hear a very muted open A string. Back to 7 on the D string, slide from 5 to 7 on the D string. So here's what we've just done. Now the solo continues with a whole step bend from the 7th fret of the G string, followed by the 8th fret of the B string. Back to a whole step bend from the 7th fret of the G string. And then we're going to do this double stop idea. While holding the 8th fret of the B string, I'm going to have a pre-bend of a whole step from the 7th fret of the G string. I'll strike those 2 strings together with the fingers, not with the pick. So middle finger on the G string, 3rd finger on the B string. And we'll do this 2 times. And do that 2-note phrase a total of 4 times and release after doing this 4 times. Release the G string. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then release. Now on the G string, 5, pull off to the open G, 7 on the D, double stops, 7th fret on the G string and the B string, using the fingers there, and then 5th fret on the same 2 strings, also played with the fingers, not with the pick. Okay, and that takes us through this phrase of the solo. So let's review. Here's what we've just gone over. Okay, let's move on. More double stops. Here's the next phrase. So here we're going to slide 7 to 9 on the G string. And now we'll play 9 on the G string along with 8 on the B string using the fingers of the picking hand. So we've just done this. That first slide on the G string was done with the pick. And now fingers. Okay, more work with the fingers of the right hand. 7th fret on the G and the B string. We'll do that 2 times. So here's what we've just done. Once again, slide 7 to 9 on the G. Now play 8 on the B along with 9 on the G. Now slide from 9 to 11 on the G string. And play 11G along with 10 on the B string. Whenever I do the double stops, I'm using the fingers, not the pick. And we'll play this double stop phrase, 11G, 10 on the B, 2 times. So here's what we've just done. Once again. Okay, moving on to the next phrase. This will also have some double stops, but here I'm going to use the pick only. Sounds like this. So I'll slide from 11 into 14 on the G string, and when I get to the 14th fret of the G, I'll also strike 13 on the B string. Now slide 12 to 14 on the G, and then play 13B along with 14G. Repeat that phrase, and repeat it again. So it's a total of 3 times. So here's what we've done so far. Now strike 14G. Now double stops, 14G along with 13B. Repeat 14G, and then 14G along with 13B. Back to 14 on the G string. A lot of numbers. Let me play this slowly. Once again. More double stops now, played with the pick. 13 on the B along with 12 on the high E. We'll do that 2 times. Now a unison bend. While holding 10 on the high E string, we'll bend a whole step from the 13th fret of the B string and do this 2 times. Now the solo continues at this point, playing over a D chord, so we're going to move into 10th position, and here's the next short phrase. So we have a unison bend. While holding 10 on the high E, we'll bend a whole step from the 13th fret of the B string. And then we'll hold the 10th fret of the high E string, bend up a half step from the 12th fret of the B string, and then release that bend. Followed by 10 on the top 2 strings. Unison bend. While holding 10 on the B, we'll bend up a whole step from 12 on the G string, and then we'll follow this with a double stop on the 10th fret of the top 2 strings. So here's the phrase we've just gone over. Once again. Now we're going to shift position, and here's the next phrase. 13th fret on the B string, 14 on the G, now 15 on the B, 14 on the G, and once again 15 B, 14 G. And those notes kind of ring together. Now we're going to shift positions once again, and here's the next phrase. So this starts off on the 16th fret of the G string, followed by 15 B. Bend a whole step from 17 on the B, grab 17 on the high E. Repeat those two notes. Now we'll repeat, bend a whole step from the 17th fret of the B string, but this time, while bending a whole step from 17 on the B, we will hold 17 on the high E. Repeat that once again while holding 17 high E, bend from 17 on the B string, up a whole step. So we've just done this. Now we'll do a hammer-on and pull-off idea, 15, 18, 15 on the B string, followed by 16 G, 15 B. So here's what we've just gone over. Here's the next phrase. And here we're soloing over an E chord. So we're shifting positions once again. We're going to bend up from the 19th fret of the G string, followed by a bend from the 19th fret of the G while holding 20 on the B. Now we're going to bend a whole step from the 19th fret of the G string 2 times, grab 17 on the high E, pull off 20, 17 on the B, G string, bend up a whole step from 19, release the bend, pull off to 17, followed by 19 on the D string. Now we're going to play 19 to 18 on the G string, followed by 19, 17 on the D string, and then 2 whole step bends from the 20th fret of the B string. So here's that phrase once again. And here's the final phrase of the solo. So this phrase starts off with a whole step bend from the 20th fret of the B string, and then we'll play 17 on the high E and pull off 20 to 17 on the high E string. Now back to the 20th fret of the B string, we'll bend up slightly before grabbing 17 on the high E. Now we're going to play 20 on the B string, bend up a whole step, back down to 20 without the bend, followed by 17 on the B string. So far we've done this. Now we're going to do this idea where we bend a whole step from the 20th fret of the high E string, and then we're going to come back a half step, followed by 17 on the high E string, pull off 20, 17 on the B, 19th fret of the G string, bend up a whole step, release that bend, 17, 19 on the D, final 2 notes, 17 G, 19 on the D. All right, well, there are all of the notes for the solo. Let's go and try it now with the backing track, first at the medium tempo and then at the slow tempo. So here it is first at the medium tempo.